I plan to travel deep into the misty jungles of Central America, to the ruins of a civilization far more advanced than most people dare to believe. So I time travel to 700 AD, where I expected to find a few huts and maybe a man in a feathered headdress. Instead, I landed in a thriving jungle metropolis of 40,000 people, with pyramids taller than office buildings and priests calmly bleeding themselves to keep the cosmos in balance. Welcome to the world of the Maya, a place of brilliant astronomers, master architects, and hidden mathematical geniuses. But then, almost without warning, it all vanished. Today, I'm exploring the rise, fall, and surprising survival of the Mayan civilization. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now, let's begin the journey. I've just landed in 700 AD, and I feel like I've stepped into the ancient version of Manhattan, but with way more pyramids than the number of Starbucks I've been to. I'm currently walking through Tikal, and it's massive. It's like New York City, but in 700 AD. We're talking about 45,000 to 62,000 people living in a city carved out of the jungle, with limestone temples shooting 50 meters into the sky, like they're trying to high-five the sun. I think the layout is totally genius, like these guys studied at Harvard. At the center are the ceremonial plazas, palaces, temples, and ball courts. But beyond that, you have residential zones and farmland, all stitched together with a white limestone causeway. It's like they built a rainforest superhighway system without Google Maps. Now I'm passing through Chichén Itzá in the Yucatan. There you have the El Castillo, a 24-meter pyramid with 365 steps. That's one for every day of the year. You think it's a coincidence? Oh, please. The Maya were syncing their architecture with the cosmos while Europe was still figuring out forks. Then there's Palenque, tucked into the Chiapas hills. It's got this elegant Palencano style, vaulted ceilings, stucco reliefs, and the Temple of the Inscriptions, which doubles as King Pakal's tomb. It's like a jungle penthouse with divine real estate. And don't sleep on Copan in Honduras. Its hieroglyphic stairway has 2,200 glyphs. That's the longest Maya text ever found. Basically, it's their version of a flex wall, but with more gods and fewer hashtags. Now that we've seen the sheer scale and architectural might of these cities, it's time to find out what life was actually like for the people who call this monumental world home. So I'm strolling through a bustling Mayan market, and let me tell you, it's not your average farmer's market. There's maize everywhere, squash the size of toddlers, and someone just tried to sell me a jaguar tooth. I politely declined. I'm not trying to summon anything today. The vibe here is electric. Nobles in embroidered tunics are chatting with scribes, while farmers trade beans and cacao like it's ancient Bitcoin. As for the priests, they're prepping for a bloodletting ceremony. Yep. Here, spirituality means literally spilling blood to nourish the gods. It's intense, but deeply sacred. Good thing I wasn't born to be a priest during this era because I can't kill a common chicken, let alone spill blood. But that's a story for another day. Did you know that when it comes to writing, the Maya had over 800 hieroglyphic signs? I learned they carved history in stone and wrote on bark paper codices, 4 of which miraculously survived. However, their calendar system was even more mind-blowing. They ran 2 cycles, which was a 260-day sacred calendar and a 365-day solar year, forming a 52-year calendar round. And they had a long count calendar that tracked time across millennia. Basically, they were cosmic accountants. Oh, and they understood zero, like centuries before Europe caught on. Their astronomers tracked Venus with terrifying precision. I met one who could predict eclipses better than my weather app. And rulers like Pakal the Great weren't just political leaders. They were divine intermediaries. They performed rituals, built temples, and kept the universe in balance. From the marketplace to the observatory, daily life here is a mix of science, spirit, and squash. It's vibrant, complex, and surprisingly relatable. But not everything stayed golden forever. It's time to travel back to the present and investigate the mysterious end of this incredible civilization. Now I'm back in the present, standing in what used to be a thriving Maya metropolis. The jungle's been taken over by who knows what, with roots crawling through temples and vines are busy strangling the old bogcourts. It's both beautiful and eerie, like nature hit the reset button. Hard to believe something so alive could disappear like it never existed. But here's the million miles question. What happened? Well, turns out the Maya didn't just pack up and ghost their cities overnight. It was more like watching a slow-motion disaster movie, minus the dramatic soundtrack. Around the 8th to 10th centuries, things started unraveling. First, droughts. I mean, the big ones. Paleoclimate data show the rain basically packed up and left. And when your entire food system depends on rain-fed maize, yeah, not exactly ideal. Then came the environmental stress, over-farming, deforestation, and soil exhaustion. Imagine trying to grow crops on land that's been worked harder than a barista during pumpkin spice season. And just when things couldn't possibly get worse, boom, political chaos. City-states started beefing like rival kingdoms in Game of Thrones. Inscriptions tell stories of captured nobles, endless wars, and power struggles that would make any reality show look tame. Archaeologists have even found fortified hilltop citadels and hidden weapon caches. It was basically the Maya version of Survivor, except this one came with real spears and no immunity idols. Then came the dynastic collapse. Kings losing power, rituals fading, and grand monuments left half-finished. Trade routes broke down, cities emptied, and the jungle slowly crept back in to reclaim it all. And do you all remember what happened back in 2012 when the world collectively freaked out? Headlines screamed that the Mayan calendar was ending, and apparently so were we.
Concerned that we've only got a year left on the planet. You've probably heard this, that according to an ancient Mayan prophecy, the world will end in late 2012.
People built bunkers, stocked up on canned beans, and Hollywood cashed in with end-of-the-world blockbusters. Yet here we are, still scrolling through social media and paying bills. So what went wrong with the end of the world? Well, it turns out the ancient Maya weren't predicting doomsday at all. The whole thing came from the long count calendar, one of the Maya's many cosmic timekeepers. Unlike our boring Gregorian calendar, which just tells us when it's Monday again, or when the next rent payment is due, the Mayan system was far more spiritual, tracking cosmic cycles and the rhythm of existence itself. Their long count calendar, which began on August 11th, 3114 BCE, simply wrapped up one massive cycle called a Baktun, about 394 years long. December 21st, 2012 marked the end of the 13th Baktun, not the apocalypse we all feared. But here's the thing. Not all cities fell at once as the Mayan Empire declined. Northern powerhouses like Chichén Itzá hung on for centuries, thriving well into the 15th century before eventually fading too. But the story doesn't end there, because the Maya didn't vanish. They evolved. Now, let's find out how the modern-day Mayan descendants live their lives and if they still retain their cultural heritage. This is a highland village in Guatemala, and it's a living history. The pyramids may be silent ruins, but as for the Maya, they're still very much here. Over 11 million descendants live across southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. And no, they don't wear feathered headdresses to the grocery store, but their culture is everywhere. I passed women weaving vibrant textiles with patterns older than most countries. Children speak Quiché and Yucatec Maya as effortlessly as breathing, because for them, it's second nature. In fact, there are over 20 Mayan languages still spoken today. Honestly, that's more than I can handle on Duolingo. And religion here is a fascinating remix. Most folks are Catholic or Protestant, but ancient beliefs sneak in. Saints get paired with old gods, and homes often have sacred shrines tucked between the TV and the tortilla press. It's like spiritual multitasking. As for agriculture, it's still rooted in tradition. Maize, beans, squash, and other types of crops are all grown with hose and light irrigation, just like their ancestors did. And yes, the milpa system still works. It's sustainable, efficient, and makes me question my sad attempts at balcony gardening. Even the cities reflect this blend. Places like Flores near Tikal or Palenque town are small, tourist-friendly, and rich in Maya heritage. Meanwhile, Guatemala City and Merida are more colonial, but Maya influence still pulses through festivals, signage, and everyday life. And speaking of stories, wait till you see what lasers just uncovered. These modern discoveries would make your jaw drop. So, I'm currently flying over northern Guatemala in a tiny plane packed with scientists and what I thought was a fancy camera. Turns out it's LiDAR, basically laser vision for archaeologists. And you won't believe what this bad boy can do. Between 2018 and 2019, researchers scanned over 2,100 square kilometers of jungle. And what they found were tens of thousands of hidden structures, like houses, palaces, pyramids, roads, and even irrigation canals. It's like the Maya left behind an entire civilization and just said, let's see if they ever find it. At Tikal, LiDAR showed the city was 4 times larger than we thought. Defensive walls, massive ditches, and 2 pyramid bases that were literally mistaken for hills. I mean, how do you miss a pyramid? And then there's La Cuernavilla, a 20-foot walled fortress with watchtowers, moats, and enough drama to make a Netflix series. It sits between El Sots and Tikal, and it's basically proof that the Maya weren't just building for luxury. They were also building defense. Even more wild, some areas had up to 95% of land under cultivation. That's rainforest farming in beast mode. LiDAR also mapped elevated highways connecting cities, like ancient interstates, minus the potholes. One route even links La Corona to Calakmul, suggesting political alliances and trade networks that span the lowlands. So yeah, what we thought were isolated jungle ruins, turns out they were part of a massive interconnected civilization. And we're just scratching the surface. From the towering pyramids of Tikal to the cosmic calendars carved in stone, the Maya were one of the most advanced civilizations of their time. If not for their collapse, I wonder how much more they would have achieved. But the Maya didn't vanish. Today, millions of descendants speak their languages, farm their ancestral lands, and carry forward traditions with pride. So, if this journey through time blew your mind, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Trust me, there are more interesting places to explore, and we're only getting started.